Okay.
All right, we're going to call the Monday, July 21st, 2025 Emmaus Borough Council meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Woke up today and it was gone.
First up, we have personal appeals part one. If anyone in the audience has a personal appeal, please approach the podium, sign in. Seeing none, no guests in the audience. Is there any online guests that have a public appeal? Please unmute yourself. Hearing and seeing none. Does anyone have a community minute to bring forward? All right, hearing none. Special presentations tonight. We have two of them. The first one, we will have a presentation from the Emmaus Rotary Club of their Summerfest recap.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Cindy Horniman with the Emmaus Rotary, and this is our new president, Nellie Cabiro. In Rotary, we have a new year every July 1st through June 30th. So around the world, everything changes. But the first thing we want to say is we cannot thank the Borough of Emmaus, the ambulance, and the police department for all of the cooperation and true community working together that we had while planning and implementing the first of, we hope, our many festivals. And we learned we have to go to plan A and plan B, because when the weather doesn't cooperate, we need to do something. And that was actually a good learning process because now we know what to do. The good news is we got so much positive feedback from the artists, from the food truck vendors, from the entertainment, and from the public. Unfortunately, the weather did not cooperate, which makes a huge difference. So our goal to raise $30,000 unfortunately was not met. While we actually made a little bit less than $10,000, some of which we will not have to repeat again because we got banners and charge card machines, et cetera. So we are having our East Penn Food Coalition joint group, which is all the service groups in the area, and people have been collecting foods, but our money is going to be very tight this year. So, just to know, you're going to be hearing about this and hearing about this. We usually notice during the summer months, instead of feeding like 120 bags of food a week, we usually reduce to less than 50%, 40. This summer, you can see the need in the community is greater. Last week, it was 66. So that's like a 20% increase. So we are expecting that, and we're going to plan for it. Tonight, we'd like to also talk to you a little bit about next year. We need to know the steps we'd like to start now. We have some ideas for some bigger and better entertainment and some expansion. And we don't need, if I have to put in one of those forums, Shane, to the Public Works again, we're thinking if it's possible, if we can establish, the weather's iffy, and we know that. We were thinking possibly even the first weekend of June 6th, and it would always be that, because the following year, Memorial Weekend falls, and we want to have it in between. So I guess we just fill out one of those forms and then let you know.
Yeah, and
What do
the
you
earlier
think?
you fill it out, the more likely you'll be able to get the area over there.
Yeah, tonight. I mean, after we're done, because we know the earlier you plan, a lot of, it takes, especially when you want to get big groups. So we just want to tell you thank you. The other thing that we want to tell you, since we have the floor for 2 minutes, is that this year, the Emmaus Rotary Club is going to be 100 years old, and it is our centennial celebrations. We're going to be having all kinds of events in the community. The big project that we started working on last year is with the Emmaus Library. And we are going to go to the Rotary Foundation for a very large, what's called global grant with international partners. And we're going to help the library install and reconstruct, renovate their entrance, which has been fallen down and everything. So we have some plans and meetings, and we're going to be reporting on that as well, and probably have some events in the community because we don't have as much money as we need to do that as well. So we're going to go big. Literacy is one of Rotary's 7 areas of focus, and we do a lot of projects like that. So any questions, anything anybody'd like to know? Again, thank you. Get ready. We're going to do bigger and better things in the community.
What do you think your overall attendance was throughout that day?
We know it was over 1,000. Okay. But we know by the amount of empty beer kegs and wine that we have, that it wasn't nearly what was expected. The bands, I mean, when you have the Craig Thatcher band and the Flirting with the Mob and all that, people just loved it, but the rain kept them away. We also did, on the other hand, we heard a lot of people say, gee, we've never been to Emmaus. We've never been to Emmaus community. This is a great place. So it was a good public thing anyway. And we might have to raise our prices next year because we've got to raise that amount of money.
Thank you guys very much for all the hard work that went into planning and executing that, and looking forward to you guys, doing it over and over.
We plan on doing it every year as long as there's a need for food in our community, and it looks like there's going to be. So thanks again. If you ever, yes.
Have you thought about maybe something like, you could do it probably around the park trail and stuff like it, maybe a fun run walks like type thing, and maybe charge, even a few dollars and have that as a donation towards it. And maybe
that's
as
a
part of the
great idea
festival.
as well. What we did last year, the biggest thing was to be able to, we had over 50 of our Rotarians volunteered that day, plus all of the community members. So we assigned people, and we pretty much told everybody, unless you were ill, you had to. The biggest issue was getting you have to have volunteers to set up. So everybody had ideas for additional activities we can perform. And we said, okay, let's look at the big picture. First, we've got to get the word out. I mean, I'll tell you what, the Cumulus Radio and all, they were outstanding and really helped us, and our sponsors. So now that they know that, we'll expand on that and then maybe take a next step, because we have to figure out ways to get more money. So any ideas you guys have, all ideas are good ideas. And then we'll say, thank you, please join Rotary, and you're in charge. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
My wife will shoot me. She's Kiwanis. Sorry.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, next up under special presentations, we have Ken Wallens and Deputy Chief Hampshire are going to present to all of council a municipal parking service. We saw this presentation through public safety, and it was also sent out to the members of public safety to have a little bit more in-depth look at it. And now we're going to show it to all of council to see what all of council thinks. And this isn't something that we need to make a decision on tonight. This is just a letting us know what they have to offer.
Good evening, everyone. So a few months ago, I'll give you a little bit of a history on how we got here today. I contacted a company called MPS. They make a technology for parking. I looked into it, made contact with the gentleman. I saw his presentation. Mr. Balliot saw the same presentation with me. And we thought it would be something that you guys would be interested in taking a look at. And here we are this evening for his presentation. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Ken Wallens of MPS. He's going to run the entire presentation, but I did give you some bullet points to look at, and we can answer any questions that you might have in regards to it.
Appreciate the opportunity.
So I'm not sure, I do have some slides. I'm not sure how you'd like to go about this. I can just say next or something like that. Is there
Yep, just make
control?
sure that you talk into the mic.
Okay, sorry about that. Now, I hope I'm not too loud. So as the Deputy Chief rightly pointed out, this is a technology that we have in place that several municipalities are using to improve public safety. And as cities have been using this more and more, they've become creative. And so we're configuring it, we're deploying it in different ways, such as to enforce time limited parking or loading zones. We have dynamic enforcement capabilities, so we can enforce by day parts, effectively offering, for example, permitting capabilities. Really, a couple big takeaways for this is we have a unique model in which we are paid only a license fee for violations that are captured in the system. And as I can point out in the slides, it's the officers that have the latitude, the discretion to decide whether it's a violation. And the second point that I want to point out is that this is really a great resource allocation for police departments. And so there's some great overhead cost benefits. You know, as important as parking is and public safety components related to that, police departments have a lot more important things to do than put violations on windshields. And so what we're able to do is provide a technology that allows them to do this asynchronously and have a meaningful effect, impact, deterrent effect on that type of parking behavior. So I can go through some of the slides. What I'd like to do is kind of quickly go through the slides. And if I'm doing a good job here, this will be more of a conversation. And then, of course, I'd like to answer questions at the end if you have any questions. So this first slide, one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we have some larger cities like Jersey City and cities in the Boston area now that are connected to Vision Zero. We're a Vision Zero partner. Their initiative is about improving public safety. This is a movement that started in Europe, really about protecting public safety or bicycle and pedestrian safety. And this right here is a perfect example. I call this Starbucks syndrome. You know, it seems like an innocent offense. It's a crime of convenience, right? People decide, I'm just going in for a minute. But they kind of lose sight of the fact that, first of all, it's an imminent hazard the moment that they park there. But then the other piece of that is that they're encouraging people to repeat that behavior. And so by having this technology, there's an immediate deterrent effect that comes into play. There are a lot of people who see the device there, and that's a visual cue that, you know, maybe I should think twice before parking here. And then over time, as the enforcement kicks in, you'll see a pronounced deterrent effect, and that takes time. One of the great things about this is because it is technology, it's solar powered technology, by the way, but this is really data driven. And so you're going to be able to look at the data and make informed decisions based on that. Based on the results that you're seeing, you might decide that you want to scale up further. You might decide, you know what, the numbers started here lower than we thought. Maybe we don't need the devices, so we're going to move them. Another component to that is that, as I said, we have the license fee model. In order to keep the lights on, as it were, and to safeguard our model so that we can offer it to everybody, we're looking to average about $150 to $200 per month for each device on average. Now, even with that in place, the municipality at their discretion can decide whether they want to pay the difference. And first of all, we look at that in aggregate, or it might be that you decide, you know what, we don't need the device here. We're going to move it and put it in a different spot, or we'll ship that back to you. So under no circumstances is the municipality required to pay any additional fee outside of that. A value-added service that we provide is that we'll handle the printing and mailing of the services. That includes the lookup, and that's a service that's really a pass-along cost to us, and that's something that we can talk about further as should this move forward. So if you can go to the next slide, I can talk about really kind of some of the drivers for this. I won't go over all the bullet points here, but one of the great takeaways, particularly what we see with larger cities, is they like this idea of unbiased enforcement. You know, we don't know anything about the driver. We just know that this vehicle parked here at this time, left at this time. We have timestamped photographic evidence, and therefore we're going to mail a violation. And so it's a really powerful way to deploy the technology. The next slide talks about some of the typical use cases. As I mentioned, we really focus, this is about the business method. And so I'll just mention here that really great thing about this for municipalities is you're essentially guaranteed to always be cash flow positive. And then there's going to be a multiplier effect that happens. So by that, I mean, right now there's a baseline that the police department doesn't know other than to say anecdotally, yeah, this intersection or that area in the triangle, we're having a lot of problems. But you don't know the actual volume because you don't have persistent enforcement. So from day one, when you put the devices here, you're going to start collecting that data. And then over time, you'll be able to really see, as I was saying before, get some actionable data. But the great piece about that is that even with the persistent enforcement, that new baseline is going to be higher than it was from day one. That's typically what we see, just because of the persistent enforcement that you're achieving. And that's essentially what we're banking on with our business model, right? We're essentially, it's basically predicated on this idea that there's going to be a constant supply of people who are willing to try their luck. And so far, we've seen that to be the case. That's really what it's based on. So if you can go to the next slide, I think that's the one. So that's a little bit about the numbers I was talking about. You're going to see that multiplier effect through persistent enforcement. And now it's the next slide that talks about the type of use cases. So no parking zones. Typical, I see a lot when I drove through here that there's a lot of extended yellow curb areas. Those are really ideal. Any sort of area that's marked for no parking. In some of the more densely populated municipalities where we have the devices, we see crosswalks near intersections, hydrants. Those are places that are very commonly deployed and where the numbers kind of merit the use of the technology. And so this is this next slide will show you some more of those types of use cases. So we have some cities that we're working with, for example, right now in New Jersey that have come to us and said, look, we want to be able to offer ride share, but we don't want it to be too high tech. And so what we've come up with is essentially self-policing. And by that, I mean, think of a 15-minute time-limited spot. Now, with illegal parking, because it's always prohibited, we have a grace period of 90 seconds typically. We can be more generous with a grace period for places where we're looking to promote turnover. So for example, with a rideshare, DoorDash, Uber, any of those driver services, what we're looking to do is make those spots available for a 15-minute parking. Now, if mom and dad want to park to pick up a pizza, they'll be able to park there too, but they're subject to the same terms. They'll get a ticket if they park for the 15 minutes plus that 5-minute grace period. Move to the next slide if you can. So we have unique technology, and it's patent protected, and that's allowed municipalities to streamline the process for sourcing the technology. I have examples of sole source resolutions that municipalities have passed as well. Next slide, please. And this is just some examples that are out in the wild, and we can just kind of scan through these really quickly. But this right here illustrates what happens when you're not able to keep up with the enforcement. Someone's parking in a crosswalk, and then someone decides, I'm just going to double park. And it's so easy to take pictures like this in municipalities where they're having challenges staying up on top of the volume of enforcement. And the next slide. Yeah, New York City, the problem is so bad, they're only capturing about 2% of the violations. And fortunately, I don't think you have that type of a problem right here. When I drove through, I saw that by and large, it looked like people were keeping the illegal parking spots clear. We can skip ahead to the model and how it works. This is from when we went live, and you can see a picture of the device here. It's solar powered. That yellow dot right there is a motion sensor. And in that glass housing is an 8-megapixel camera. We typically monitor spaces, what I call a defined length, so 20 to 25 feet. When we went live in the Boston area, we got front page coverage in the Boston Globe. And the next day, and you'll see this on the next slide, we had all the 4 major network affiliates come in. And I bring this up because the community invariably has been really supportive of it. You're talking about bus lanes. In that case, now in that particular use case in Somerville, which is part of the Boston community, the MBTA spots where the devices are monitoring the bus stops are now considered among the safest in the network. So I'll skip ahead to the next few slides. We'll see the 4 steps for the enforcement officers. Again, some examples of it out in the wild. We have some success at airports now too. We cover all the costs, so we will cover the installation. Currently, we have our own staff go on site and do the installations. Over time, we envision, having the municipalities bear the responsibility for that, but that's now included in all the upfront costs. The next slide, please. Okay, so the way it works is we capture violation in progress. That's a defined area. And so if you go to the next slide, you'll see there are 4 major steps, starting with the next slide here. The first step is we capture the violation in progress. On the next slide, you'll see, so on the left picture, we capture violation progress. That goes up into the cloud. We capture it, we vet those out. We have customer service reps and their job is to quality check it. We want to make sure that the license plate is legible, that they feel it's a legitimate violation, that it's defensible. And only those violations that we feel are legitimate are going to be hosted in the system. Generally, what we expect is that a municipality will enforce about 95% of the violations that we host. If it winds up being less than that, we want to have a discussion just to make sure that our menu, we have a drop-down menu that allows them to review and approve violations. We want to make sure that it represents their needs. So that's step number 2 is this is what the officers will see. And step number 3, they're going to have unique logins that correspond with either their badge number or some other identifier. And again, they are the witnesses to the violations just as they normally are. They're going to have the latitude and the discretion to decide whether it's a violation. They're part of the community, so they might recognize a car from a business owner. They might say, look, he parked for 10 minutes extra. He's trying to make a living. We're going to cut him some slack this time. For all those violations that are approved, there's the output is an evidence form, which you see in step 4. Now, the great thing about this is that because it's timestamped photographic evidence, it's going to have the effect of reducing the success rate and the frequency altogether of people disputing their violations. So it's going to also result in higher collection rate. So if you look onto the next slide, what we can do also is integrate the look and feel of your violation into a single page. And we've done that in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, which you'll see on the next slide. And then, as I said, we can handle the lookup and the mailing. And typically when you take into account, the value of an officer's time, it usually represents some cost savings for us to do that. And then in the case of Wilkes-Barre, if you skip ahead, I think 2 slides, you'll see that, I guess I took that out.
We go back.
Go back one more. Okay, I'm sorry. So I took that out. But if you look closely on the violation, there's multiple ways for people to pay. And what we've done for Wilkes-Barre is we've created a payment website, and we've done that as a value add service. And every month what we do with them is we reconcile the numbers based on what we've collected and what they've collected in City Hall or by mail. And we determine what the amount is that they pay to us. So that's a not so quick overview of what we do, and love to answer any questions I might have. Please.
So you said you've seen our triangle. How many units would it take to view that whole area? Because it's not like a straight line. It's obviously configured.
Right. So from what I understand of it, there's about 30 spaces. So the deputy chief and I were talking about that. There's also with Mr. Balliet. And what we're considering is a variation of our technology where we can deploy overhead cameras. And so we'd have one overhead camera that isolates, provided that you can isolate a single entry and exit, we can use one overhead camera and it's going to capture the plate wherever it is. And we'll capture what the violation is that way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question for, and Chief, you may, or Assistant Chief, you may want to answer this as well. If it goes to violation at the MDJ for enforcement, do you still collect your fee on that, or how does that work?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Currently, is there a community of similar size that's using this as to ours?
So Hazleton, I think, is probably about twice the size. I can point to, we're all over New Jersey, and New Jersey has a lot of densely populated boroughs. So I think there are a lot of similarities there. The population density here doesn't seem as pronounced as it is in some of the other areas where we work, but that can be misleading because just about every municipality has kind of a busy business district, and that's what seems to be the case here as well.
And so if you don't meet the percentage that you need to meet, does that cost have to be paid or covered by the borough?
So at its option, the borough, the first thing we would do is we would look at the whole program in aggregate and see if it's covering the costs that way. And then what we'll do is look at individual devices, and together we can make a decision and say, you know what, maybe we don't even need them there. In some cases, we'll just leave them there because, you know, what we don't want to do is push the problem a block away. And so we recognize that to have an effective program, by default, you're going to have some devices that are performing better than others. And then if we find that the numbers are really low, to be able to safeguard our model, what we might ask is you send it back to us. What's more likely is that if the numbers are low to begin with, you'll probably come to us and say, I don't think we need these here. And then we can concentrate on the areas where there is a problem. There's no minimum number, so. Everyone's being too polite.
Usually we talk over each other, so that's positive. But anyway, there's pricing in that we saw here, and I don't know if you want me to say it out loud or because I have
Sure.
questions, but it's around the pricing that's in
Please.
here. Okay. So in the agreement, it says up to 500 sticks. My understanding is we would only need 25-ish, two
Right.
dozen or so. Okay. But in the minimum fee, it says $150 per month per stick,
Mhm.
no matter what it generates, correct? I know you said we can move them,
Right.
but it's 150 per month per stick. And then you talked about mailing out the citations, I guess they're called, tickets, whatever they're called, violations. That's where the 40% number comes in, or what?
Correct.
So the 40% does not offset the 150. That's to do the mailing process.
Let me make sure I understand what you're saying. So first of all, the 500 number, that's boilerplate language for some of the
Mhm, I
larger
figured
cities
some
where
of
we
this
operate.
was.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think that I think 50 would be a large number here. But to address your question about the volume, what we're looking for in aggregate is to average about $150 per month for each device. So in a real world example, if you're talking about a $25 ticket, the revenue to us is $10 per violation. So you're looking at one violation every 2 days. In busy areas, we're getting 2 or 3 violations per day on average per device.
So every citation, 40% goes to your company.
Correct.
And if we don't meet the 150, though, it does say that the borough would have to make up the difference for the minimum. That's what it says in the agreement that I read. So that's correct.
Right.
It says
So-
a minimum fee of 150.
Right. And so I'm happy to put in language that kind of clarifies that. But effectively, you'd never be required to put that in. The worst case scenario is you decide, you know what, we don't want to pay the extra fee, which by the way, wouldn't be, it's very unlikely it would be closer to $150. It'd probably be something like $30.
Understood.
We don't want to chase short money like that. But in the worst case scenario, what we might say is, look, it's been 3 months. We've gotten, 3 violations per month. You probably don't need to stick there. You can send it back to us.
I would. Then my last question. So from looking up there, an Emmaus officer would get to view them all, and he or she would decide if they were going to be issued.
Yes. So our model is really predicated on that. We want the officers. This is a tool for the enforcement officers.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So kind of answered it with Chris, but I didn't realize there was 25 minimum. So we would have to get 25 sticks.
No. If you
What's the minimum you can get stick wise?
there's, from a practical standpoint, it probably doesn't make sense to start with less than 10. But if you said, we only have 5 areas that are a problem, we'd be happy to do
Okay,
that.
so let's say we did 10.
Yep,
So it's $1,500 a month that would the cost to you from us.
correct. That's right.
All right. And suppose we move them around different places and we find out we don't really need them because it's not generating. Can we go down to 5 then, or is it going to be?
Yes. Yes, you have the flexibility to do that.
And is it from month to month? Is the contract? I mean, how's the contract set in stone?
So we can be flexible. If you want to go month to month, we could do that. And so it would be after an initial 5-year period. The standard terms for our agreement is 5 years, but for renewal, we call it automatic renewal. But after that period, we could go month to month.
So I was going to say, Mr. Labenberg, it does appear that their contract is a 5-year term. So,
right.
And taking a look at paragraph 6 or 5C and 5B, what you raised, Mr. Dufresne, I do have some concerns about that. Now, I would assume you would allow the borough to negotiate with you to address some of these terms because we are slightly smaller, so it would be
Right.
require some modifications to
Sure.
this
I
agreement.
would say it's more about clarification because truly this is a partnership and we don't want you to feel like you're being force fed something that doesn't work for you. And we care about our reputation. This is about public safety. And so we are very mindful of that. So the short answer is yes, we're happy to hear your thoughts on that.
This is actually for Chief, if I may. What is an average amount of citations, say in a triangle right now per month?
Per month, we're probably at around 15.
15. But that doesn't include weekends
triangle.
because we don't have.
Correct.
We don't have any.
We're only enforcing 25% of the actual enforcement time.
Okay.
period.
And I guess, just in general, how much time does somebody spend reviewing, like, you know, the time spent for that, obviously, versus manpower of actually being out there?
What we hear is typically it takes a minute to minute and a half to review and approve each violation. So if it's integrated and we handle the printing and mailing, it takes less than a minute. If a municipality handles the printing and mailing on its own, it takes a little bit longer.
And typically, is that done daily?
That's what we recommend, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I have two questions. Deputy Chief might be able to answer this. I don't know, but they are available to be moved and relocated. One area that I think of, Mr. Andrews, you're talking about the triangle. I'm thinking about school no parking areas. So I don't know if that helps our situation. But seeing that there's 3 bolts in the ground, how do you get those bolts back out would be a process. But the real question is case law. Is if the person is on, has there been any case laws against this type of enforcement where possibly somebody's at a computer looking and reviewing this is there a certain time frame, like 24 hours, and then that it's been reviewed and it says, oh, we're going to violate them, but it's been 24 hours since it's been reviewed. So is there any type of case laws that you experienced or your company has experienced?
So are you saying if they haven't reviewed the violation in a certain period of time?
Correct.
So it's interesting because that does come up but in terms of the fact that the violation itself is a perishable good, right? It needs to be mailed within a certain period. And so that's where we recommend that a municipality mails it within 3 days. I think that there's a law around that.
Under the motor vehicle code, it has to be mailed within 72 hours.
Within 72 hours. Okay.
That's Title 75, Chief. Yeah. Sorry, we're straying outside of my normal areas, but if I remembered my basics, that's correct.
And then just the last question, I think I didn't hear you, Mr. Anders, but I think you asked it was at the state level, they're looking to implement front license plates.
Right.
So right now we only have and I noticed that the picture might capture that. That's why you said the overhead. Is that correct? Is that why you said?
Correct. Yeah, that can pose a challenge.
I couldn't hear it. So that's.
Yeah, so we would want to take a closer look at that. If I may, I also want to touch, you mentioned schools, and that's a perfect example of where, the idea of this being a partnership comes into play. We see a lot of interest among schools, and it can be such a problem. Wilkes-Barre has had a huge problem. There's a certain amount of seasonality to that, as you know, and that's something where we're certainly willing to work with communities on that, recognizing that, September, October, and then maybe, January, February, it'll be busy, but then during those summer months, it'll be very slow. And in fact, in some of the beachfront communities, very similar, where we actually deactivate the devices during the off season. So the enforcement is active from May 1st until October 1st, essentially. So that's something you might consider as well.
Do you, I don't know, would you charge, since they're installed, would they still be getting that subscription charge?
Not when we deactivate them. So what we might agree is that for, 3-4 months, whatever period it makes sense, we would deactivate the devices without removing them, knowing that they'll be reactivated when the next season kicks in. So there's some, I think of some beachfront communities up in the Boston area where I am, where that's worked out really well, because they have also a mix where they have a busy downtown area where they need enforcement year round. So it's a good mix.
And I was going to say, I think that could be contractually negotiated as part of the.
So on your contracts, I know you have to protect yourself on the legal side, but all the financial things that are in this contract are up for negotiation, correct?
Well, I I certainly want to make sure that we're hearing what your needs are.
Because
And we-
it does, again,
Yeah.
I figured this was boilerplate. I did figure that. So when I read it.
Yes, it
But
is.
it clearly says a minimum of 150 per device. So it doesn't say if you shut it off for a month, it doesn't count. So all that type of stuff's negotiable.
Right, well, that's come up quite a bit, and I think that's more about clarification, and I'm more than happy to, I think I can add one sentence to that would offer clarity and establish a comfort level to make sure that you're protecting what that interest is.
I think it does. I think you're using the terms negotiation and clarification in
The
the
same. They're-
the exact
Agreed.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're like when we say negotiation, we're not necessarily talking about, we're talking about making sure that the contract is clarified to the extent that what we would want would match that.
Understood, I appreciate that.
Am I correct,
You're
Mr.
correct.
Dufresne? I don't want to put words into any
Nope,
council person's
you're
mouth.
correct.
One thought popped into my head when we were talking about schools. So there are some situations where, for example, during school, the academic year, there's like no right turn during certain times. Does that also handle that, or is it just parking?
That's a great example, so that's something that we could handle we could handle that during certain hours of the day, for example. But certainly by season too, by month or something like that.
So for crosswalks, are you referring to just parking across crosswalks, or if someone's walking and someone doesn't stop for a crosswalk and there's people there, does that capture?
Yeah, we only cover parking violations
Okay.
for this. Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay, thank you.
I was thinking that down.
Mr. Brown, just to clarify your earlier question in regards to enforcement and the time frame. 72 hours, like we said, to have that citation or violation mailed, they'll have 10 days to pay it. And after those 10 days, the officer, if they don't pay it, would issue a traffic citation, which we have up to 30 days to file that.
And that then goes
And
to the
that's-
MDJ.
Correct. And that's from the date of the violation.
So Deputy Chief Hampshire, I know you were talking on the top of your head, but in your bullet points, it's about 30 a month based on your numbers. And I know you were trying to recall the number, just helping you there. Just helping you.
Right, and I think Mr. Anders answered the question, or asked the question in regards to the triangle area, that
Okay, This says
30 a
downtown.
month, that's the entire downtown area. So trying to isolate the triangle itself is about that number.
Anybody else have any other questions? Do you have anything else to add?
I don't. I just want to thank everybody for their time and would like to come up with a program that accommodates the needs of Emmaus.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I think our next steps are to, I guess our next steps will be to maybe discuss this a little bit more at our next committee meeting for public safety.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't mind taking.
Yeah, so I
money
think
from
that this will be an agenda item at our next public safety meeting. And then we'll see what comes out of this, out of the committee. All right, we're going to move on to the reading of the minutes. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the June 16th, 2025 council meeting minutes? Motion by Mr. Dufresne, seconded by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion, additions, or corrections? Somewhere?
The minutes don't currently reflect my comment during the Parks and Rec committee report stating that the Kiwanis mural went through that committee and saying that that would be an opportune time for the committee to address the concerns from the community that we received in public appeal and emails.
I'll make sure that we get that added in
Well,
there.
you guys have to vote with that amendment. You don't just add it in. You have to vote with the
Gotta vote.
amendment.
Would someone like to make a motion to amend? Chris? Amend
Oh,
your
man, yeah,
Yep.
amend. I
Okay.
was zoning
motion by
out there
Mr.
for a
Dufresne,
second.
seconded by
I heard
Mr.
what
Brown.
Ms. Baumgartner
Okay.
said, but I was zoning for a second. there.
Is there any further additions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, everyone.
So We just had a 35-minute conversation. Do you want me to include every one of your questions and comments on that presentation?
No, but I feel that she just.
No,
thinks
no,
it's-
I'm asking
No,
because.
I don't think anyone expects
Okay,
that, but
because we can,
that's
we can
something that
get,
she wants.
we can get more detailed in your minutes is what I'm saying.
No,
So, okay.
I don't think anyone expects that. I think it's just
Okay.
something that she would like included. That's all.
And I think the appropriate way you're dealing with is under Robert's rules. Then if somebody sees a minute item that they want to address, you simply raise it at the meeting and then you raise it and it gets added in like we just did subject to amendment. That way it's not burdensome to the record.
I'll say, Shane, that no one's brought this up before, so it's not an issue.
Well, no, there's been times, but over the years, if you look 13 years ago when we started doing the minutes, like they literally did word for word
Well,
minutes.
Yes, that was
point.
obnoxious.
And we've brought them down, but if you want more detail on comments and questions like this, for example, I mean, I can make this a paragraph or 3 pages of
Right.
that presentation is what I'm getting at.
So, I mean, we also have the video recording of it. So, I mean,
Sure.
to me, obviously, if there's amended versions like you currently do, I'm fine with it
Mhm.
because we can go back to the video and
Yeah, we have
also have our.
Supplements.
Yeah, we have no problem either way. We just want to know moving forward if you want to see more or just the one-offs. If you want to add something, you make that suggestion and we amend it at the meeting is all. Okay.
All right. Thank
We
you.
didn't approve-
We have no decisions on bids.
Wait, so we approved the amended, wait, we added the amended part, but we didn't approve the minutes. Am I correct?
No, you did. You approved.
Minutes subject to amendment, Dufresne.
So that was included with it. Okay, thank you.
Good. All right.
Normally you're the traffic.
We have no decisions on bids. Under communications, we have 2. The Emmaus 4-mile classic event request is there. That is a reoccurring event. We'll send that over to the staff. And the next is that Alan Sylvester is resigning from the Recreation and Entertainment Commission. Alan's definitely been a huge part of that organization for the last couple of years. Really appreciate everything that Alan's done. And I would say the last, after COVID, it's really elevated. We got a lot of really great sponsors. We got some great participation. Alan, you're definitely going to be missed. And if anything ever changes and, you want to come back, well, I'm sure we'll have a spot for you. Does anyone else have anything to add? Somewhere?
I just want to thank him for his leadership and his initiative. He's had a lot of creative ideas for fundraising and for creating programming for our community. And I hope that we definitely send him a huge thank you letter expressing our appreciation and gratitude.
Great. Thank you. Borough Engineers Report, we have none. Mr. Solicitor?
No report.
All right. Unfinished business part 1. We have ordinance 1279, an ordinance repealing section 353 subsections 1 and 12 of chapter 1 of the codified ordinances involving the Civil Service Commission rules and regulations and adopting amended rules and regulations. We had our first reading on 6/16. This is our second reading. Does anyone have any corrections or additions or questions from last time on this? Does anyone want another explanation of what this is? Hearing and seeing none, this will be a roll call vote.
We need a motion
Motion.
first.
Oh, yeah, motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Bumgarner, second by Mr. Anders. We'll call for a roll call vote. If there's no questions, comments, none? Ms. Watt,
Aye.
Mr. Anders,
Aye.
Mr. Labenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Dufresne,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Bumgarner,
Aye.
Mr. Balliet, aye. Under new business, we have ordinance 1280, an ordinance of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending chapter 15 subsection 602.3.a of the Emmaus Borough Code, adding residential disabled parking sign and assigning permitted parking space on a public street located in front of 136 North 4th Street, and amending chapter 15 subsection 602.2.a of the Emmaus Borough Code, removing a residential disabled parking sign on a public street located in the front of 106 South 12th Street within the borough of Emmaus. So essentially we had a resident that needs a permanent spot in front of their house on North 4th Street. And then unfortunately, the person passed away on South 12th Street. So that's where this is coming from. Would someone like to make a motion to approve ordinance 1280? Motion by Mr. Labenberg, seconded by Ms. Baumgartner. Any further discussion, clarifications? Hearing none. This is also a roll call vote. Ms. Watt,
Aye.
Mr. Anders,
Aye.
Mr. Labenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Dufresne,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Baumgartner,
Aye.
Mr. Balliet, aye. Our next reading will be on August 18th. Next up, we have ordinance 1281, an ordinance increasing the indebtedness of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, by the issue of a general obligation note in the amount of $684,848.01 for sundry purposes, fixing the form, number, date, interest, maturity, therefore making. Do we need to read all that?
No.
Yeah.
This is your first reading anyway, so
This is
Laguna.
This is the Lagoon ordinance for the radio
Yes.
purchase that they're making us do. As we're borrowing the money at 0% interest from the county, but DCD is forcing us to file Laguna filings.
Does anyone have any questions or discussion points on this?
Motion to approve ordinance 1281.
Motion by Mr. Labenberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Dufresne. Any discussion? This is a roll call. Ms. Watt,
Aye.
Mr. Anders,
Aye.
Mr. Labenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Dufresne,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Baumgartner,
Aye.
Mr. Balliet, aye. All right, under unfinished business part 2, we have none. Does anyone have an item not on the agenda they would like to bring forward? Hearing none. Madam Mayor's report.
Thank you. On your desk this evening, you will find a list of organizations, things to do, and also the map of where everything will be laid out for National Night Out. As you can see, we have 55 different organizations, things to do, and events that will be taking place for National Night Out. Also, we will be handing out 300 little bags. In that bag, you will find a card that looks like this for a book bag scavenger hunt. There'll be the locations on here. Every child that goes to these locations will get it marked. When they are all filled in, they're going to be dropped off at the police department. And later in the week, we're going to be doing a drawing. We will be giving away 40 book bags filled with school supplies. So come on out, have some fun.
Nice.
DJ Dutch will be there spinning some tunes, making all kinds of announcements for us. So Mr. Balliet will be in the dunk tank. Ms. Watt will be serving hot dogs. So come on out, have some fun. It's a community event.
She won't have a heart attack.
And come out and see the petting zoo. Other than that, progress.
It was not a cardiac event.
That was not
Wow.
necessary. The cardiac event shot.
All right.
Progress.
So bad. Madam Mayor, thank you. This has really blown up over the last few years on this. Thank you very much for all your hard work that you're putting into making this such a unbelievably great community event.
It'll be a fun time. So my staff deserves a lot of credit for this. They have taken the ball, so to speak, and they ran with it. So
And
hopefully
found
we'll have a
petting zoo.
touchdown.
And found a petting zoo.
Well, you either have Percy or 17 small little animals. So this year we have 17 small little animals.
Thank you.
No elephant.
So the public understands what we're talking about there. Our solicitor so generously has offered to pay for our petting zoo. So thank you very much for that.
It's better than the llama or alpaca or whatever it was.
It was a camel.
The camel was pretty cool last year. Thank you for that. All right.
I see no pictures
That's a
of you
big
guys
llama.
having ridden the camel, which is why I'm confused.
There was signs that said we weren't allowed to.
Oh,
So
what were you paying for? What were you paying for?
What were you
To
paying
get
for?
spit on.
oh gosh. All right. Under committee reports. Up first here is Public Works, Mr. Anders.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I actually have a resolution this evening for Resolution 2025-21, a resolution authorizing the borough manager to sign the winter municipal agreement between the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Department of Transportation, and the Borough of Emmaus. This is basically, Shane, if I'm correct, for the snow plowing of the state roads that we normally do.
Yeah, correct. We've had an agreement in place for years. The current agreement expires. I think it's built in a 2% increase per year in the agreement. It allows for us to plow the snow. They pay the fee for that winter maintenance. Quite honestly, we'd rather plow the snow because
We're not waiting.
when PennDOT comes through, they're going to their job is to open the road, so they're going to plow every intersection closed. It's just part of our guys rotating through, the price matches the expense.
I don't remember seeing this before. So how long is the contract
10
good for?
years.
Yeah, we've had it before.
Most of these state contracts have been in place for about, it may even be longer than that.
Yeah.
It's 10 or 15 years. Because we
But
just,
is it renewed every year or is it
No.
like a,
No.
oh, so,
Yeah,
okay.
the current one just expired. I know. I said the same thing. I was surprised to see a new one.
So we won't see this for another 10 years.
Probably
not.
It's 5. 5 year.
I think it's 5. I think they have a
5
5 year.
Brent
I
will
think
be
the-
the,
I
Brent
think
will be the only one that's still here.
I think the former one was.
I remember.
Yeah.
I'll be dead by then. It's fine.
Make a motion to approve it.
Yes, sir, please.
Any-
You don't want
No, I'm telling
Anything
you.
else, Mr. Anders?
I'll like to make the motion to approve the resolution.
A second.
Motion by Mr. Anders, seconded by Mr. Labenberg. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
So we did meet on July 7th. The only thing I wanted to mention was that if you haven't been down, there is construction started on the PFAS remediation project. They're digging and they're going to be starting to build some of the building to house some of the units. So progress is being made with that. The other thing that I just wanted to mention was, even though it's more like up Chad's alley, the Public Works team really worked hard to get the pool ready this past weekend and get it up and running for Saturday's reopening, and also the playground, because that had gotten washed out as well. They were down there working pretty well all day long after the flood just to get that thing up and running. So I do appreciate their efforts. The meeting notes are attached. With that, unless anyone has any questions, I'll report progress.
I got a question on the legitimacy of an actual water moccasin. Was that misquoted by what you said, Mr. Pepe, or did we actually have a real water moccasin in our pool?
Yeah. So
Because that's like one of the, it's like what the
our
fifth
group
most
leaders,
poisonous
our no, that water snake it was not poisonous.
So it wasn't a water
No,
moccasin.
it was a water snake.
Water snake.
Our group leader screamed louder than a little kid, and Taylor went in and pulled it out and threw it in the creek again. So, and it was probably 3.5, 4 feet long. It was big. It was big.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was big.
All right, that's all I had.
Is that going to be at the petting zoo?
Yes.
No.
That's next year. That's next year.
That sounds like a value added service as
Who
well.
has contact with the reptile farm? Anybody?
I don't know. I'm assuming we represent one at some point.
I report progress.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have Health, Sanitation, and Codes. Mr. Brown.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two items to discuss tonight. Resolution, the first item is going to be Resolution 2025-22. It's a resolution conditionally approving the revised lot line adjustment plan for George Anderson and Philip Siebert regarding 160 to 162 Main Street, 150 Main Street, and 102 Garden Court, which here is in the borough. Mr. Pepe, would you like to speak to it, or Mr. Solicitor, would you like to speak to it?
So at your planning commission, this lot was originally subdivided three ways, roughly, I'm going to say 10 years ago. When they were selling one of the properties, they noticed that there was a mistake in their deeds. So they are updating this subdivision, essentially fixing this via lot line adjustment to properly make the deeds match with the proposed lot lines. However, I would point out there's going to be a small portion of this property that was going to be donated to the borough. The borough has indicated that they would prefer not to do that because it would require additional maintenance. So we have the planning commission has conditionally recommended approval subject to borough council's discretion on that. Mr. Pepe, do you want to add anything as to why we would not want to maintain that road?
Well, I mean, first of all, it creates a tax exempt area that we have absolutely no use for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you're not going to cut a road through there. There's no sewage through there.
It's 2 feet long.
And it's 2 feet wide. Right. So there's no public use for that space. So we have no public interest in that. And I'm sure if we really research very hard, we probably have a number of those areas throughout the community, and we certainly don't want to add more. So we politely declined and said, thank you, but no thank you. It's your property. We don't need to take a 2-foot strip.
Does that get assessed?
It does now, yes. Unless we were to take the proposed donation. Hence why that portion of the planning commission's recommendation is not included in this proposed resolution.
Mr. Anderson is here and Mr. Siebert is here in the audience. I don't know if you have any questions for him or for them. We thank you for the offer, but we'll respectfully decline that little strip from what I'm hearing. So I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Brown. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lavenberg. Is there any further discussion on this? No, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
To you gentlemen, sorry, real quick. To you gentlemen in the audience, that means you can move forward with the sale subject to the borough's conditional approval. Just follow all the rules that your attorney is going to give you. Okay?
Do you want to? You can come up and speak from the podium, sir.
Does the fact that we're not going to have that easement, which was there when the townhouses were subdivided, but it was a 5-foot wide easement instead of a 2-foot wide easement. But since we're not going to have any easement, do we have to change our plan to remove that note, or can we just strike it through the plan since it's already got some signatures on it, and we are waiting for borough council to sign the plan, as well as, let's see.
We'll coordinate with your attorney on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Good. Thank you.
Can you state your name for the record?
Philip Siebert.
Thank you.
The second item on the agenda is the Westrum is requesting their security reduction, number 3. Is there anything, Mr. Pepe, that we have to do here? Is this just a formality request?
No, council needs to approve that security request based on the engineer making a recommendation. So yeah, you would have to vote to approve or not approve.
Okay, this is coming from Hanover Engineering.
Correct.
I believe. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the Westrum request for the security reduction number 3. And again, as a reminder, this is 300 Furnace Street, escrow.
Does he need to state the amount?
No,
It's on.
I think it's fine.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Dufresne. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
All right, attached are the committee notes from June 17th. We did not have a July meeting. Our next meeting is Tuesday, August 19th, here in person at 4:45. That's all I have for this thing.
Awesome. Up next is Parks and Recreation, myself. The only thing that we have tonight is for council's consideration is a trail agreement with the Wildlands Conservancy. They are putting in a trail to connect some of their stuff they have going on up there at the mountain, and they're going to be coming across our area up at the shelter house. So this would be an agreement that would allow them to do that. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the trail agreement? Motion by Mr. Lavenberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Watt. Does anyone else have any other questions or concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes. Our meeting notes are attached from our July 17th meeting. We got another Boy Scout, Eagle Scout that is looking at rebuilding our bocce ball court that was down at Gaga Pit. Sorry, not bocce ball, Gaga. The Gaga Pit down at Community Park. So I think he's going to work with Lawrence and find a proper location to do that. But that's kind of exciting that we have 2 Eagle Scout projects going on in our parks.
We have a third one as well. We have a young man, I think, wants to rebuild the horseshoe pits as well.
That's great.
So, but the construction on the 4th Street baseball field dugouts is starting, I think, later this week. The young man that is doing that project has raised a considerable amount of money. I know our borough engineer is donating a considerable amount of money to him as well. I assured him that our solicitor throws money at camels, so he would probably be willing to donate some funds towards
I
this
look
project.
forward to donating to the Shane Pepe Memorial Baseball
Yeah, no,
Diamond.
this young man's 15 years old, showed us engineer plans. Very exciting. So, and actually Roy asked for his name on it.
The Roy Anders Memorial Baseball Diamond is fine as well.
So I thought that was pretty exciting. Our next meeting is going to be Thursday, August 21st at 4:45. And with that, if no one has any questions, I'll report progress. All right, up next is Public Safety, Ms. Baumgartner.
Thank you. The items that we had to address have already been addressed during our business portion of our meeting. We do have our meeting notes attached from July 9th, which mostly focused on the parking questions and concerns related to the high school area. I'm happy to entertain questions about that or speak to you individually. And then we also had some interviews for a full-time position. Our next meeting will be August 13th at 9 a.m., both in person and on Zoom. Any questions? Report progress.
Thank you. Up next is General Administration, Mr. Lavenberg.
Thank you. We have resolution 2025-20, a resolution authorizing the application for Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Local Share Account Fund, Northampton and Lehigh Counties grant. I believe this is tied to Seventh Generations.
Yeah, and it looks like Mandy Suro and Amanda Crossman or Crossman are both on the meeting. I don't know if you want to invite them to discuss it.
And I'm assuming this is the same thing that they applied for grant money for isn't it an amphitheater or something?
I think this is.
Are they still working on that? I mean, I feel like
this
that
is
was
it.
years ago.
I think this is it.
Okay. So anyhow, the motion, or I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-20.
Motion by Mr. Lavenberg, seconded by Mr. Anders. Any discussion on
Yeah,
this?
if we want to, if you want to let them just talk about it real quick, I think it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask Mandy if she wants to give us a
I do remember it.
quick rundown of it.
Sure. Yes, you are correct. We did apply for this grant in 2022. And we were awarded over $83,000, and we're encouraged to reapply for the grant for the remaining funds. We've been fundraising as well for a couple years, but just thought we'd go for it again. As a reminder, this is a community amphitheater that we hope to build in the back of our building on Minor Street. It'd be built into the hill and would provide access for our students to obviously use during the day for their outdoor learning and presentations, but we would love for it to be utilized for the town of Emmaus on this end of town for presentations and meetings and just community engagement as a whole.
Thank you. Does anyone on council have any questions while they're here? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
Our next meeting will be Wednesday, August 6th, 9 a.m. via Zoom. Progress.
Thank you. Up next, Budget and Finance, Mr. Dufresne.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have first item for action, Resolution 2025-19, the bill list. Resolved by Borough Council to authorize the payment of July 21st, 2025 bill list as follows. Bill list $1,238,262.13. Payroll is number 13 and number 14, $440,839.33. Payroll taxes, $145,801.14, for a total of $1,824,902.60, done this 21st day of July, 2025, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Lamberg. Motion by Mr. Dufresne, seconded by Mr. Lavenberg. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
You can see the significant revenues and expenses for the first half of July. You can also see the second quarter 2025 budget performance report. Next, we're recommending, the committee is recommending the appointment of Birch Benefits as our health insurance broker. There is one item that is incorrect in the email. The per employee per member per month, per employee per month is $28 for Birch, not 30. Other than that, everything is accurate in there. As we discussed previously, Shane and myself, mostly Christine Snyder, the treasurer, also met with them, but we held meetings with, I believe, 5 or 6 total, and we narrowed it down to 3, and then the committee reviewed the final 3 that were there. So I am making, Shane, do you have anything else to add before I make a motion?
No, just that, we feel that the price is definitely worth it. We believe that they're going to generate a lot of savings for us. I think they're going to reduce a lot of work. They're going to add a lot of scrutiny to the healthcare bills, the healthcare process, finding, possible appropriate health insurance companies. And they're a large enough firm that we believe that they could comfortably handle our business and have enough negotiation power with the healthcare companies that they can be effective for us.
So I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Dufresne, seconded by Ms. Watt. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the Public Works Teamsters Union contract extension. So the contract expires on December 31st, 2025. We've agreed to extend the contract through December 31st, 2026, exactly as written, other than they do have a 3.5% wage increase in the extended 1-year contract. Everything else remains the same in that. So I put that in the form of a motion to approve the Public Works Teamsters Union contract extension.
Motion by Mr. Dufresne, seconded by Mr. Lavenberg. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
And we already handled the ordinance. Here you can see the meeting notes in here. So unless there's any questions, the next meeting is Wednesday, August 6th at 11 a.m. on Zoom and in person. Progress.
Thank you. Up next, we have Community Relations Planning and Development, Ms. Watt.
We have not met since our last council meeting. Our next meeting is Tuesday, August 5th, for a very brief meeting at 4:45 before the festivities begin.
Oh, yeah.
Progress.
Can I make a comment? I thought it was better here than in the
Probably play my
committee,
music from now on.
committee meeting, community minute. So just to let you know, the Emmaus Halloween Parade website is open for group float, band, and food truck registrations. The Public Works Director in Emmaus and the parade committee met with UGI 3 weeks ago. We can imagine what that conversation was about. They have assured us that the route would be passable and acceptable. It won't be repaved, but it will be acceptable and smooth enough to run the parade. And the parade committee is also happy to announce that Xfinity is the presenting sponsor of the Emmaus Halloween Parade this year. So they've committed to that. They're also going to be at the food court on the Borough parking lot on Main Street with some fun giveaways and some interactive stuff for children during the 4 o'clock to the end of the parade time period. So thank you.
DJ Judge will be bigger and better now.
Yeah. Chris, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any comments or questions for Chris? Nothing at this time? Awesome. Ms. Watt, finished?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Under boards and commissions, you're going to find some notes from the 1803 House, the Knaus Homestead, and also the Emmaus Public Library. Up next, we have Personal Appeals Part 2. Anyone in the audience have a personal appeal? Hearing none, does anyone online have a personal appeal? Please unmute yourself. Hearing none. Borough Manager's Report.
Yeah, so there's a lot here today. I've hired Emma Schilling as an EMT, part-time EMT. I've hired Danielle Himes as a part-time firefighter. She was already a part-time EMT. I've hired John Simonik Jr. as a part-time firefighter. Police Officer Al Kloss has resigned as a part-time police officer. However, he's going to become an auxiliary police officer. So he'll be able to, you'll see him in the parks and at the basketball games and things along those lines. So, so it's nice to see that we'll still see Al around. We do have a couple things for you to vote on. First, Brianna Falco, our administrative assistant on the fire department, has met her probation, and our recommendation is to retain her as a full-time employee. So we would ask for that approval.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Labenberg, seconded by Mr. Dufresne. Any comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
All right, thank you. You'll also see a recommendation from our Public Works Director. Ben Harrison has met the requirements to advance to Class 4 in Public Works, so I would need an approval for that as well.
Motion by Mr. Labenberg, seconded by Mr. Dufresne. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes.
All right. So this one I don't need a vote on. It's a part-time firefighter. Has met the requirements to move up to firefighter level 2. The last thing that I have for you, you'll see we have appointed a new group leader from the parks effective this morning. Dakota DeLong is the new group leader on the park side of the Public Works Department. Other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll report progress.
Questions? All right, hearing none. Under President's Business, I have none. We're going to have an executive session tonight where we're going to be interviewing our candidate for the Director of Emergency Services. So we're going to go into executive session, and I'll explain the process. We're going to conduct the interview, and then we'll come out of the interview. We'll go back to a council meeting. We'll make, if there's any kind of recommendation on that, and then we would vote. We would vote on that, and then after that, we would adjourn our meeting. So
You have two items to vote on. That you have a deputy director position as well.
Okay. That's not an interview. And then we're going to make the recommendation of hiring a deputy director of emergency services as well. So at 7:15, we're going to go into executive session, and we'll start conducting our interview, and then we will. How long do you anticipate?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know if anyone wants to stick around for that or not, but at this point, we'll go into executive session at 7:16.
Right up.
And we're going to come out of executive session here at 7:48. Back to our agenda items. Would anyone like to make a recommendation to hire Director of Emergency Services? Mr. Lambert?
Make a motion that we hire Keith Miller as Director of Emergency Services and Fire Chief at a prorated salary of $99,000.
Motion by Mr. Ladenburg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Baumgartner. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 7 ayes. Next up on the agenda would be to hire Deputy Director of Emergency Services. Mr. Ladenburg?
I'd like to make a motion to hire Adam Priest as Deputy Director of Emergency Services and Ambulance Chief for a prorated salary of $95,000.
Motion by Mr. Ladenburg, seconded by Ms. Baumgartner. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. Mr. Ladenburg?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Ladenburg. Is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Seconded by Ms. Baumgartner. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:50. Thank you, everyone.